You know, this video has been a long time coming because I have been making videos kind of on the side just to get some videos built up for you guys. But the videos that you're going to be seeing tonight are definitely going to be recorded tonight and they're uploaded tonight. But I'm going to be uploading a couple more videos or just making videos on the side just so I can have a couple of videos made for you guys just in case I don't get a day to where I can upload. But your boy Horror Boy is finally back out of hiatus. Hopefully things stay stable from now on. Everything seems to be fine, and I figured, I've been having a lot of time to be making videos, so why not make some videos for you guys? And it's great being back. I really didn't like the fact that I had to take a hiatus because taking those is really risky. It usually takes a lot of time to get back from that. And that was 2.5, 3 months ago almost that I made the hiatus. And it was because I was working night shift. I was unable to balance my personal life with work life. It was very hard to do that because I was working very crazy hours. Making really good money, which is really, it was just, I had no time to make videos. But I have just recently switched over to day shift and I've had a lot of time on my hands since I've made that decision, to where now I feel like I can make videos at a constant rate again. Or at least at a constant rate to where I can, keep the channel kind of updated with every, couple passing weeks. I want to be able to upload videos for you guys and be able to upload different movie reviews for you guys because I've been watching a lot of movies lately and I haven't done reviews for them yet. So that stuff is all coming. But tonight, it's great to be back. The Explorer of Horror is finally back once again. Hopefully I don't have to do a hiatus again, but we'll see how things go. But for right now, I am back, and tonight we're reviewing The Houses October Built. Now, The Houses October Built came out in 2014, gets a 5.2 on IMDb, directed by Bobby Rowe. And this movie was a movie that I had always seen on Hulu and Netflix, and I had always seen the posters for these movies floating around. And Bobby Rowe is also an actor in these movies. He's in both films. He also was a visual effects artist for Prayer to a Vengeful God. But these are his two movies that he's directed, that he's been involved with. These were movies that I've been seeing on Netflix for a long time now, like a very long time. And I've always kind of just said, nah, I'll pass up, and nah, I'll pass up. And I do that a lot on Netflix, and then I regret it later because I finally see the movies, and I'm like, man, these movies are actually pretty good. Good point in case of that is stuff like ABCs of Death, Pontypool, even TV shows I've been watching, recently. Like, I've never seen Shameless. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. I know that's one hell of a sin, but I really have not seen Shameless ever until I started watching on Netflix. And I really regret not watching Shameless like that. But yeah, this is a movie that I came across, and it's a very interesting film because when you look at the title and you look at the posters, what do you think? And by the way, this is a spoiler review. This and the sequel reviews are spoiler reviews. I'll say it in that review too, but to get it out of the way right now, spoiler reviews from here on. But when you look at these posters and you look at the title, you would think that these movies are maybe about killers, or maybe they're about haunted houses, or maybe they're about a typical generic idea where there's just a house and there's killers in it. But no, it really does do an original thing with these movies. It does have some problems. I will not say that it's perfect, but these are pretty solid horror films. Now, basically what the first movie is about is you have this group of people, they're on the road, and they are going on the road to find the scariest haunted attractions in America. And they're actually, I like how they do this in this movie, they're actual real haunted houses that you can go and visit in real life. These are real things. These guys went out and shot footage It's, of course, found footage, but they use it very well in this movie. I will say that it's used very well in this movie. They use the found footage aspect very well. There's a very original idea behind it. But basically, these guys are on the road, and they start going to these different haunted houses, and it starts off pretty normal, but they go to a few, and it's very fun. You're getting to see the really corny jump scares, and, you know, the hidden panels, and people jumping out. And you see haunted houses, you see, whether it's walkthroughs or the ones you sit in, they drive you through, like a dark ride. You have all kinds of haunted houses they're going to. And as the movie plays along, they start noticing these really weird people showing up. Whether it's certain actors in the haunted house start acting really strange, or they start seeing these people wearing skull masks pop up everywhere they go. And about halfway through the film, things start taking a turn because they find out that they're looking for this haunted house called, I think it's called the Blue Skeleton. And they're basically trying to go here and find a clue here, and they find another clue, leads them over here. And basically they're on this wild goose chase for this ultimate haunted attraction. And the great thing about this movie is that it does a great job of starting you off to where you don't think there's really anything going on. And you have great characters. In my opinion, these characters are actually really great. They act very natural. They seem like best friends in real life. You know, it all seems very natural. Deliveries and lines. They actually seem like best friends. It's not like they try to force it on the audience. No, they actually legitimately seem like best friends. And the dialogue is really fun. And each one of these characters has certain traits about them that I really enjoyed. Like the lead, Brandy Schaefer. She's kind of a woman who is, you know, she's kind of scared by haunted houses, but not really. She loves going to them and getting to find the scariest haunted house. Whether it's Zach, Bobby, Mikey, Jeff. You know, Jeff is the guy who says the really awkward lines. Bobby is kind of the leader of the group. Mikey is kind of the joker. Zach is kind of the second one down from Bobby as far as leaders go. And they all kind of, you know, have great chemistry together. You know, they have great lines, great dialogue, and you really get behind these characters. They're likable, they're realistic, and you can get behind them very easily. And it's very hard to do that in a horror film, so I really respect the movie for doing that. But basically, they start seeing some really weird stuff. They start noticing some weird stuff, and one of them ends up getting kidnapped. I believe it was Jeff. He gets kidnapped. You think he gets killed, but he ends up getting kidnapped. And basically, it all builds this tension. It's a very slow build of the tension to where it's not boring, but it's just very slowly building. You start noticing these people in the background a lot, people acting weird, and it all builds up to where they're even finding people going into their camper at night and filming them in their sleep. And I don't know what is so effective about that, but there's a movie called Creep that I did a review for a couple of months ago that really used that as well. You had that creepy scene where they're being filmed in their sleep. They wake up and there's a brain in the refrigerator, like an animal brain, and then they look outside and there's people, a big crowd of clowns and scary actors outside of their RV, just surrounding the RV, and then when they turn the lights on, they're gone. Just little things like that, little things that aren't necessarily gory or aren't necessarily bloody, but they are little things that add tension to the movie. And as you're watching, and it builds and it builds and it builds, when it gets to that third act and they finally get to the Blue Skeleton, when they finally get there, it's really intense because you don't know if these guys are going to live, you don't know if they're going to die. When they get there, they get locked in their RV, or they don't really get locked in their RV, but you know, when they get there, a bus pulls up. These guys kidnap them, put them on the bus, send them to this house. It's very dark. They can't see what's going on. And ultimately, it ends up with them being buried alive. And, you know, by the end of the movie, you're not sure if they get saved or not. and it really does a great job of building that tension and building it to where you're at that peak and you don't know if they're going to live or not, and then boom, it ends. So this movie was a very solid horror film. It's not a typical horror film. There's not really any gore. There's not really any special effects. There's not really any supernatural things. There's no zombies, no goblins, no ghosts. But what it does well is characters, tension building, atmosphere, found footage, chemistry between the characters. All that really does work very well in this movie. So yeah, you're not really getting the bloodiest movie of all time. You're not really getting the goriest movie of all time. You're not getting the most horrifying film of all time. But I like what they did with this movie. It's a very different idea. It's a very new take on what a horror film can be. You know, this shows that you don't have to have blood and gore everywhere, and you don't have to have, you don't have to have jump scares everywhere. Like, there is a decent amount of jump scares in this movie, but it's not annoying. Like, I hate it when horror films do jump scares and they don't work. Because to me, you completely miss the point of making a jump scare if it doesn't work. And half the time anymore, it doesn't work. You want to know how to get a jump scare to work? Contact James Wan. Contact James Wan, and you can figure out how to make a jump scare work. But if it's not him, and it's not Leigh Whannell, if it's not them, you can't do it. Or if you try to, you can only get a couple jump scares to work. That's just how it is for me. There's so many movies that try to make jump scares that don't work for me. But yeah, it's a very simple film. It's a very straightforward movie. I thought that it had a lot going for it. The fact these locations are real and they went to them, they get interviews of people, and it kind of does this weird thing where it's like a commentary on haunted houses and whether or not, like, you get interviews, it'll flash between interviews of people saying, oh yeah, well, there's some people that take haunts too far. They hurt people, they harm people. So it kind of is a commentary on that, and it talks about, well, what do you think would affect a person's mind if they would go to this haunted house? And they'd be like, well, you got to be really strong-minded to get through it. That I didn't really know about because it kind of seemed random to me. It's like, why are they throwing in these interviews from random people about, how people go too far and people are murderers and killers in these haunted houses, when really, I don't know, maybe it is a real thing that happens, but it just seemed kind of random in this movie. I guess it kind of fit the plot that maybe there was this group of people who are harming people in these haunts. I guess you could say it's also adds tension, but I don't know. But besides that, I mean, the movie is very straightforward, very solid, and I definitely recommend the first Houses October Built. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching the review. And real quick, about to shoot the review for the sequel, The Houses October Built 2. So I'll see you guys in that review. The Explorer of Horror is out. See you guys later.